Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things. I have today an envelope comparison test. It is basic white versus whisper white versus a super cheap envelope, cheap envelope. These two envelopes on the right here I got from my mom's stash, and these are from my stash. So I thought it would be fun to do a compare. And what I'm going to do is on each one, they're going to get a Misty Moonlight stamp on one side, a Tuxedo Black on the other. I have my Stamparatus here with the ornamental envelopes lines, and then I'm going to write on all four of them and give you my input. So first off, the Whisper White is in the upper left. I'm using natural light so that we can see what these colors look like. I have also a piece of basic white and a piece of whisper white just for color comparison. And I am going to pick up one of the envelopes, and I'm just going to show in the light what the basic white, so this and this are basic white, and the one on the top is whisper white. It has a, to my eye, hopefully you can see this as well, it just has a little bit of a more creamy hue to it. So, setting that envelope down, picking up the whisper white. Again, now I see the creamier color of these two and the basic white of the paper. And now I'm going to grab the fourth envelope, and hopefully you can see that the basic whites match and the whisper whites match. So, to my eye, the basic whites do match each other. I've already conducted my own, like a feel test. Both the basic white and the whisper white are equally as smooth. I think that visually you can tell that this envelope is really almost parchmenty, I guess, for lack of a better term. Very rough, and maybe it is supposed to be looking like parchment, I'm not sure. And then this is kind of the run-of-the-mill envelope. She probably bought it at a big box store or something. And it feels okay, but is not as smooth. You can I can see on the surface, comparing the whisper white, I mean this is the basic white, to this one, that this still has a little bit of a bumpy surface, and we will see how it stamps. Alright, so my stamping test, I think I'm going to first do very quickly the lines on all four of them. What I will write with is my favorite pen, which is a Copic Multiliner 0.5. It is a pigment ink, color waterproof, and Copic marker proof. I use it for doodling and such. I use it for, you know, if I make a mistake and I need to clean up part of a stamped image, and I know I'm going to be doing Copics, I will use it for that, and I have it in different thicknesses. So I use a little jig I made for myself. It's a template, and the blue is for mailing, giving lots of room in the upper quadrant for the address. And the reason why is my first one I didn't even think about needing to self-address the envelopes, and I centered this address. So I'm going to go ahead and create, I'll use black for the lines, and I'm not going to be very scientific about this. I'm not even going to use the magnet, though I do know that this is photopolymer, and I have one adjustment. I have to add my foam. So inadvertently, this is a little mini Stamparatus lesson. So I've added the foam layer, and back with my template, and I'm doing the green template. And I could use a magnet, but I'm not going to. I want this because I am very bad at straight lines. I try and I try. I am getting better, but I am still not perfect. And I'm not even paying attention to which envelope I'm picking up. I'm just doing this as if they were a chunk. Now I see this. I know which one this is. It's a Whisper White. It has a little bit of a flaw there. It must have been out on my desk at some point in its life. I will probably speed this up. We'll see how long the video gets. Because I don't think that I'm going to notice a difference between the envelopes with this type of stamp, because it's just little dots that you can't really see. They all seemed to stamp equally the same. All right, now the fun begins. Just going to grab whichever one I have. I have a piece of paper to stamp on. These are well-used inks. And clean this off. So my two colors for this test are black and Misty Moonlight. And sadly, even if we liked the Whisper White better, just like on my previous test, it is no longer an option to purchase. So Basic White is the replacement. So this is more for information purposes, not to make a decision. I'm going to put the blue always on the right side. And the reason why I grabbed these cheap envelopes, in fact, I don't even know if they're cheap. I just grabbed them because they were two different kinds of envelopes that my mom had. I am not sure how much she paid. Who knows? So my Misty Moonlight is definitely not well inked. But to make it consistent, I will stamp them all with the same pads. Oops, and see, I'm already messing up. This is supposed to be black now on the other side. And underneath the grid, I have a spongy surface, if you were wondering, so that my photopolymer stamps will work evenly. Because they don't have foam of their own, they need to be stamped on a soft surface. This is the blue, almost done. I do have a little bird. He will just be hidden in these leaves on the bottom, and I think I may grab a blend. Okay. Now let's see what we see. I am looking at all four of them. And I think I just randomly put them out. I'm going to say that this I know is the Whisper White, and it laid down this not very well inked blue quite nicely. This one did a good job. This one sort of did a good job. This one looks very faded to me. And looking at the blacks, I can definitely tell that that's rough paper. These three are pretty close, but this looks rougher than the other two. And again, this is the Whisper White. And I did mix these up. So this is your basic white. This is what you're going to get right now today, because that one is no more, and these are off brands. So you can go ahead and look. I will take photos and put them in a showcase at the end, so you can just stop and stare at them if you would like to. I'm going to quickly write. How about now, sadly, I have been writing in cursive on my envelopes, and I started out in caps, so that's what I have to do for all of them. Okay. Both of these feel, so far, the same smoothness, but I didn't expect any different because I figured with the results of the paper test and how well the basic white replicated the Whisper White with some different properties in the paper, but it still was a nice smooth paper. And I'll tell you, writing on a cheap envelope versus the Stampin' Up envelopes is like night and day. So I will say that those felt about the same. And the big difference I feel as a writer when I'm writing lots of envelopes, when you get to these non-smooth envelopes, you feel the drag of the ink. It's actually more work, and when you're doing a lot of them, your hand gets tired way faster. So not only do the envelopes look better, they feel way better and are much nicer to write on. And this one, which is the obvious cheap one, is going to feel horrible, but I still will finish it out. Both of these have the drag because of the rough surface. I'm going to pause once we're done with the writing, and I'm going to go grab a couple of blends. I'll grab like a green for the leaves, and for the bird I'll grab, you know, like yellow or maybe brown. Make him a simple brown bird. Okay, so I will be back in a flash. Alright, I've taken my folded paper, placed it in the envelope over to the corner because blends will go right through the paper to the other side. And I'm going to see what I think of the coloring properties. Envelopes, as a rule, are very different to color on because it is a thin, much thinner. It's more like copier paper. So you can't expect it to feel the same as... I'm not going to color the blue. I had a vision of making him into a little robin because here we have robins everywhere at my mom's house. Every day in my big window I see robins. It's probably the same little family snacking right outside my window on the grass. Alright, so that is how that one came out. Again, I am not paying attention to which one I grab. They're not in a particular order. And without paying attention, I can tell that this is one of the smooth ones because the ink goes down really nice and there's no fibers pulling on the tip at all. It has that wonderful buttery feel that I love when I'm coloring. And another very soft, buttery feel. And I will say that my mom's stash is likely my stash from when I hit the road many years ago now. And I left her all of my supplies because I did not have room for all of them. And I had quite the collection of stuff. And she probably overall makes a fraction of the cards that I make. Even when I was working, I made a lot of cards. Alright, so that felt like a good one. I'm sure it was one of the good ones. And now I can already tell that this is our cheapy knockoff, not good quality envelope. So I do not have high expectations of this one. Okay. Yep, already I can hear the nib. And the ink is soaking in. I can even see it bleeding. All right. All right, now I'll just set them out. I will do some photography. I'm gonna then compare the two that I'm very curious about. There's a little bit of difference. I would say the Whisper White that is no more is a little grayer. It's not as crisp. It's a little smoother, but a little bit more gray, and I think that the colors are a little more vibrant on the basic white. And then comparing our two knockoffs, I mean, they're not terrible. Even the cheap one did an okay job with the blend. I just see more seeping out of the lines than I did on the other three. Like this one, I don't see any of the ink going out of the lines. And I already told you how I felt about the writing part, that I loved the smoothness of these two, and I could feel the drag on both of these. All right, so I'm going to get some photos. I'm going to say that you can come to your own conclusions. Again, this is just for interest's sake. That you do not have an option for the Whisper White anymore. And I did want to throw in these two knockoff envelopes to talk about how they feel, that there is a definite marked difference in how they feel to use them versus the Stampin' Up! Products. So, let me know your thoughts. Please leave your comments, questions, and suggestions on this video or over on my blog. I will not have a supplies list for this. Probably won't even do an article, but I will if I have the paper comparison articles. I will probably put a link to this on those articles. They were done probably 1 to 2 months ago. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.